I made a new friend today. Hey everyone, my name is Chris Anderson. Some of us experience events in our lives that are so overwhelming, stressful, and frightening that they can affect us months, years, or even decades after they happen. But Dr. Maria Espinola has been working on some new and innovative techniques to help people get over their trauma, which is why I'm here at Heavenward Farms to learn more.
One of the things that I'm very interested in is making sure that we can get to as many people as possible, basically increasing access to therapy. I try to go into the community and I try to engage people in different ways, using art, using animals, in this case, equine therapy. The main goal for most of my patients is to overcome trauma, because most of them have gone through a lot in their lives, like very severe types of trauma. They have survived violence, many of them. So our goal is to make sure that they can heal those invisible wounds, the ones that we cannot see.
Hi, Maria.
Hi.
Nice to see you. Thanks for inviting me out here.
Of course.
So, what is trauma from a science perspective? What does that mean?
Yeah, so trauma can happen after you go through an event that may have been dangerous, but where you felt that your life was at risk of significant bodily harm, or someone else you care about was at risk of harm.
Okay, so it's something that happens, some event that happens where you feel that either your life or someone you care about their life is at risk.
It's at risk.
What does that do to the brain?
It's very impactful. So for the most part, the main issue that happens to the brain is that it alters our response to survival situations, life or death situations. So for example, if we hear a very loud noise, we are gonna kind of jump a little and get ready to either fight a potential attacker or run away from that threat. So that's what is supposed to happen, right? So that type of response can save your life. The problem that trauma survivors have is that response can get altered, meaning that it can get shut down. So you're no longer able to identify threats the way that you're supposed to, because you're kind of daydreaming. It's like your mind is in a place where not know where your body is, basically. You're not paying attention, you're not focusing in the moment, so you miss out on threats. And then the other thing that happens a lot is that people are constantly waiting for threats. So they feel like they live in a very dangerous world, even though they are not surrounded by danger.
So the brain's normal flight or flight response, that evolutionary process that we have to keep us surviving, that gets changed. So either someone doesn't have a response or everything is a response.
Exactly.
That's got to be really hard to live with.
Yeah, so imagine trying to learn when you're going through that.
When you're constantly on edge.
You cannot, or meet people or make friends.
So let's talk about interacting with animals. So how can that help people kind of move past the trauma that they've experienced?
Yeah, so I can talk about horses specifically. So horses are beautiful animals, as you know, but besides that, they are very interesting in terms of helping you overcome trauma. One of the reasons for that is because horses have a natural tendency to see humans as potential threats, right? So they see us as a potential danger. Okay? So it takes work to develop that relationship. You have to gain the horse's trust to be able to have that relationship, okay? So that could be challenging, all right? And at the end, it's very rewarding, but it could be challenging at the beginning. So it's a journey. And during that journey, you can learn what is going on with you. You know, what are you afraid of? And confront those fears.
Those horses are going to kind of sense that already inside you.
Exactly, yes, yes. So horses are very smart animals. So they can sense if you're afraid. So they can sense that fear, and they also mimic that fear. So you make it more obvious to you that you're afraid, because you're seeing it in the horse. So in order for you to be able to develop that relationship, you have to overcome that fear and then promote that calmness to the horse so he can feel comfortable with you.
if I was confident. Thank you for working with horses like this. So that was an amazing experience. Like, you had to be totally in the moment when you were around that horse. You can't think of anything else, past, present, future. You just had to be right there with the horse.
Exactly.
That was incredible. I can't imagine that has to be really great for these folks who have experienced trauma. What kind of impacts have you seen with the people you work with?
Yeah, so for me, what I see is just a complete transformation, which is so inspiring, because when trauma victims come to see us at the very beginning, they're oftentimes shaking, they can't speak openly, they're very afraid of everything. They feel that they don't have any future. They are oftentimes hopeless. They have very low self-esteem.
Mm-hmm.
They have never had a healthy relationship. So they go from that to feeling comfortable in session, laughing in session. So like, because oftentimes people think like, why would you want to work with trauma victims? That's such a bummer. Like you're like hear these horrible stories every day. Yeah. And it is true that we hear horrible stories at the beginning. That is true, and that could be very touching and moving, and oftentimes like it's sad. And but the thing is like what keeps us going is the belief that we can do something, right? So we know for a fact that it works. So that keeps me motivated.
It's got to be really great to see the positive changes in the people you work with.
Yeah, it's really awesome. I think one of the other good things about the mindfulness and other non-traditional therapy methods is that they can work without medicine. So it's something that you can do at home if you're taking a walk, if you're driving in your car, and that's really, really awesome. And you can just see a reduction in symptoms, trauma symptoms, anxiety symptoms, depression symptoms.
It's got to feel really great that you guys are facilitating a really important change in these people's lives. Well, thank you again to Dr. Espinola, UC, and Heavenward Farm for all the work that they're doing for people with trauma. And thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time on Science Around Cincy. Some of us experience events in our lives that are so stressful, and all their amazing work for people with Okay.